Great. So thanks everyone for joining us today. We are very, very excited to have this first tech webinar series at WeRobotics. If you want to learn more about us, if you're not familiar with WeRobotics, check our website, werobotics.org and flyinglabs.org. We are a not-for-profit company. We basically localize technology around the world, and part of our mandate or mission is to share knowledge. And so we are very excited today to have three presenters who are going to present some new and exciting ideas, technologies, and I'll let them basically explain what these are about. So first, we will hear from Igor Vereninov, who is the co-founder and CEO of EMLID, a company developing and manufacturing RTK GNSS receivers. Prior to starting EMLID, Igor led the research and development team for leading UAV manufacturer. So thank you very much, Igor, and I'll let you get started with your presentation.
Yeah, I hope I have unmuted myself. Perfect. Really happy to be here. Thank you for the intro. And today I want to talk about what we do, about our RTK receivers. And I myself have very long kind of UAV mapping experience. And I remember, like, the first time you make a map with a drone, you're happy, you make a flight, you get a bunch of pictures, you stitch them together, and kind of you are happy. And then the question arises, is my map accurate? And how can I make sure that this is not just a pretty picture, a pretty model of something, but it's actually meaningful, accurate data? And like, I assume that most of our audience has background in drone mapping, and just we all know how important is accurate georeferencing of our models. And for example, what we observed is some of our customers as well making repeated flights day after day, and then trying to create control lines or digital elevation models. And then if you fly over the same territory every day, you'll see that your models, they do not really match one the other. And then with just when you're using normal GPS, these differences between models, they could be on the range of meters and even more on some kind of elongated projects. And ground control solves these issues, right? So it's a way to pin your models, to make them accurate, to make them meaningful data. What are, like, main approaches how you go about establishing your ground control, placing the ground control points, measuring them actually? And the first thing we usually do, what's very natural, is to hire a surveyor, hire a professional to do that. Other option is to kind of buy the equipment that the surveyor uses and teach yourself to use it. And the option that we offer is to use Rich RTK receiver. And I'm gonna go in depth about these options, what are the pros and cons. So the first option is to hire a surveyor, and it's a really good option for a start. In some cases this is mandatory, and then there's basically no other option if you are supposed to do that for legal reasons. But otherwise, the kind of the disadvantage of working with the surveyor is that there is another person that is usually not on your team. It's somebody you have to to make arrangements with. It's additional costs, and it's also you're just less flexible in what you do. You can't just go and do something. You have to actually make sure that this person is available. So the next natural step is to buy the equipment that they use, but the problem is that the pricing is really steep. So it could be easily $15,000 to $20,000, and it kind of requires training. So it's not really intuitive, and requires additional equipment, data collectors. It's not easy to figure out yourself. So the option we offer is the RTK receiver that is easy to figure out yourself. It's really easy to use because we offer mobile apps. So all the work that you do, all the measurements, you do them from your mobile phone. It's centimeter accurate. It's really accurate, and it's always at it's actually at a really affordable price. So, and that's kind of our thing. We are building RTK receivers that are, that anyone can use and that will be affordable, so that you can just, use it just as a tool. Now, one of the things that comes to the mind that people maybe at first meet our company, go, hey, this can't be true. Like, this data, is it reliable? And over the years that we are building this, we had numerous surveyors, surveying companies, data processing companies. Everyone wants to test and verify the accuracy, and they all got pretty much the same results they will get with any other equipment. So it's centimeter accuracy. Here is an example of a survey done in South Africa, where they checked the equipment on the special calibration site, and the results that they got were excellent. So we were under 2 centimeters on both axes, which is more than enough for virtually any kind of survey work. It has been also verified by the good people of Drone Deploy. They actually started promoting the ground control point workflow, and they also tested our equipment and verified it to work well. So how does it actually work? Like, the process of placing ground control points, if you were to do it yourself and to measure them. Now, what I'm going to be showing here is based on our mobile app, which is available for iOS and Android. And it allows you to configure the receivers and to actually do the survey, do stakeouts, and a lot of other things. So the first step is obviously to just place the ground control points, the targets themselves, and there are many guides on how to properly do that, how to distribute them in your model. And I'm just not going to go deeply into that here, but there are some rules how you do it. And you need to make sure that they're visible on your pictures in the end. For RTK GPS to work, you need a base station, a reference station. And in many cases, these are available either from private services or from governments via N-Trip. But I assume that many in our audience might work in areas where there is no infrastructure, really remote areas. So in that case, your own base is really, really convenient. And the base station is the same receiver, it's just a different mode of operation. Once the base is set up, usually it's on a PSM if that is important, on a survey mark, or it could be just in any place, and the base will determine its coordinate automatically. Connect the rover, connect to it with the mobile app, and create a project. So the app supports local coordinate systems, geoidal models, grid shift models for most of the countries there are, and so you can deliver the result in the appropriate coordinate system. And after that, just go and measure those points. And the process itself is very straightforward. There is an app to measure, and then you can assign some attributes to this point, give it a name, so that you can easily distinguish this particular ground control point in your files, and set some rules for the required accuracy. Now, once you've measured all the points, you can export those, and these are exported in a CSV format, which could be opened with any kind of spreadsheet editing software if required, or they can go and be imported to, say, Pixfooty or PhotoScan as ground control points. And that's pretty much it. So that is a very quick and efficient process, and I think that anyone can learn to do that. It's definitely less complicated than mapping the actual mapping with a drone part. Now, so this is just one workflow that is possible that is related to GCPs, but this product hasn't been actually created specifically for that. There is a lot of other things you can do. So each unit can operate as a rover, as a base station. It could be used for post-processing. It could work as a base for, say, Phantom 4 RTK, or for any other RTK or PPK equipped drone. And we see a lot of projects where our customers learn to combine different modes of operation. So just some examples. So what you can do is you can actually simultaneously use a base station for a Phantom RTK and use it as a base station for your rover which you use to measure the ground control points. And you can also log the raw data, your Rhinex file. So there's a lot of things you can do. It's really flexible. This is another interesting example from our customer where it was really difficult to place the ground control point marker on the ground because there was no ground. So they had to place them on posts. And some other examples from our customers here, they're using it for avalanche monitoring system. This is your typical drone mapping project with ground control point targets from Australia for erosion monitoring project. And, you know, many more. So another thing that makes it easy to get started is that we have a lot of YouTube videos. So if this is something that you're like, if this could be useful for you, then we have a lot of videos on how to get started, how to connect, how to actually do the ground control points, which go in depth. And we also have a very good community forum. It's over 6,000 users. And they actively exchange their experiences about, you know, how to use the equipment and how to make maps. We have a dedicated support team that is actually familiar with drone mapping and can answer any questions about the workflows. There is also a webinar coming from us, which will focus more on the ground control points workflow. So if you are interested to learn more, you can go to our website, and on the bottom of the page, there is a place where you can enter your email and subscribe to updates. Now, there are different receivers that we offer, and we often get a question, you know, which receiver should I choose? So our ReachRS2 is the high performance model. It is multi-band, so it receives multiple bands from the same satellite, which allows it to be quicker and more robust in difficult conditions, in maybe under some vegetation in a forest or in an urban area, and it works faster. We also have a previous model, which is single band, and it's kind of budgetary model. But if your work is in open conditions, maybe like an open field, rover is not far from a base, you know, you can work a little slower, then it's still a very good option to save a budget. So now, like, our receivers are available from our website, and especially for this webinar, we're offering a coupon code for the next 5 days where you can get a 5% off any of our receivers. And a short word about EMLID. We've been around for more than 6 years. We have dealers in over 40 countries and users from over 100 countries. And I think that about a third of our users are drone mappers. And I think any expo where, you know, there is some kind of, there are exhibitors that do drone mapping, you'll find our receivers. They are either in drones or used as base stations or used for ground control points. So at this point, we feel like we become kind of the standard way of getting highly accurate RTK georeference data for your drones. So just to sum it up, check out our website, subscribe to our notification for the webinar, and don't forget to grab your discount. So thank you all for listening, and I think I made it in 15 minutes sharp.
Thanks a lot, Igor. Yes, you did. So we'll take questions at the end, but feel free to post them on the chat if you have any questions. You might forget. Next, we have Jack Behrens. Jack has been the operation manager since August 2019 of Hummingbird Technologies, a company that provides advanced crop analytics by pushing the boundaries of science and technology. Thank you, Jack, for joining us, and you have the floor.
No problem. I hope everyone can hear me. Igor, thanks for the presentation. We actually use EMLID ourselves, and yeah, we're big fans. So I'm going to start with giving you a bit of background on Hummingbird. So we've been around since 2015. We're a data analytics company, and we do offer remote sensing and machine learning solutions to farmers around the world. We basically look at 4 main problems for farmers that we want to resolve. We want to protect yields and avoid yield loss, which is a big problem. We want to make practices more sustainable, allow farmers to make more informed decisions with greater insights and perhaps even earlier decisions than they would otherwise have been able to make. And we want to make sure that inputs such as chemicals and water are more efficiently used. Yeah, so that's basically us. Our process revolves around remote sensing, and a large proportion of our customers use satellite data, but about 10% use drone data. We've got our own drone fleet that we manage across 3 continents, and for the other geographies we use data collection partners. In some circumstances we actually use aircraft and sensors mounted on aircraft. We've got a cloud-based web application that the drone pilots can upload data to, and we aim for a 4-hour turnaround after the data's been uploaded, where the farmer can go into the application and use the services we provide. One of the key elements of our product is variable rate maps, which I'll get onto in a minute, but the farmer can use these variable rate application maps directly from our platform. So our products kind of fit into 6 different categories. So it's the optimizing inputs that I mentioned, which is the variable rate maps. We use it for herbicide, desiccants, growth regulators, and etc. This is more of the macro analytics, perhaps not as interesting to this audience because it's satellite based, as with the carbon dashboard and the yield prediction. But we also use macro analytics that is purely drones, and I'll go into that in more detail in the next few slides. So this is a kind of broader look at all of our capabilities and the crops that we work on. You can see down the side, this is the products that we have, and then these are whether it's from satellite or from drone. So all of our products are drone based, aside from these yield prediction and crop type classification. But there's also a satellite option as well. But obviously the drone is the preferred choice if the farmer wants higher resolution. So I guess from looking at the WeRobotics website, the key geographies are more equatorial. So I reckon they'll be looking at sugarcane and soybean, and perhaps a lot of more of the vegetables such as lettuce. So this is our kind of our flagship sugarcane product. We call it gap detection. This uses a machine learning algorithm that works on drone data. So a farmer or a data collection partner will fly their crop and at about a 2 centimeter resolution on the RGB imagery, and our computer algorithm will work out where the rows are, and then it will work out where the crop is, and it will map out where the gaps are in the crop. This is done at an early growth stage, so the farmer can go back in and replant areas that are underperforming. So you can see this area here is predominantly red, so the farmer may go back in to the field and get some crop in there before, or some drilling seeds in there before the surrounding crops gets too developed. It helps the farmer to protect his yield and get more out of his land or her land. This is another product that we've been using quite a lot in the last year or so. We call it knockdown, but it's a pre-emergence herbicide application. So if before a farmer has planted any seeds in his field or her field, then the farmer would like to look and see if there's any weeds that might become an issue. This has been very successful in Australia, where the field size is 300-400 hectares. We fly this with a multispectral camera at about a 7 centimeter resolution. The weeds are detected, and they look kind of like this. And then in our application map, you can generate a variable rate map, which the farmer then does, and can either download that as a shapefile to put into the sprayer, or we have API links with a few big machinery manufacturers in the agriculture sector, such as John Deere. And yeah, this has been one of a favorite for a lot of farmers around the world. This kind of is the economic analysis for such an application. So if you look at, these are all the prices in US dollars. If you look at the herbicide cost per hectare that the farmer would be looking at, and then considering only about 50% of the farm needs to be sprayed, because if they don't use us, then they tend to use a flat rate weed application. But if you do variable rate weed application, it's far less of the land actually needs spraying. So the farmer's saving money on that, plus our price per hectare, which is around $3 US. The farmer has significant savings across the field. This is a herbicide application map for post-emergence, so when the crop is developed. This case study is on soybean in Brazil. So you can see here that the software has identified areas where there's weed. The darker the color, the more intense the weed is, and then when we go and create the application map, it has identified the areas that need spraying. So in an original situation where the farmer would apply a flat rate and spray the entire field, we're only spraying these small blue sections, and the farmer will get a similar output to how they would have before, but they will have saved their money by not paying for all the chemicals. It's better for the environment, and it's better for the farmer. And another economic analysis, which is it shows the clear return on investment for such a product for the farmer. A lot of the questions we get asked is, do the farmers need specific equipment? And yes, as long as the equipment is fairly new in the last 15-20 years, then it will work. But we have API links into a lot of big manufacturers, so we feel like we cover a large portion of the market and can service a lot of different machinery. So this is quite an exciting product that we've developed in the last 2 years. It is one of the micro products that I was mentioning before. This example is on lettuce, and it's we're at the moment we do summers in the UK and Northern Europe, and then we do winter crops in the US and in Southern Europe. So essentially what this is we've developed a machine learning algorithm that will identify certain crops. So this example is lettuce, iceberg lettuce, I think, and it will identify each iceberg lettuce plant in the field, and it will give it a grade and a size out of, so you can see here that the number associated to each plant, and it will give the farmer a very accurate, over 99% accuracy of the amount of plants he's got or she's got in the field, and the size and the grade out of 100 of how good the plant is and how developed the plant is and the size of it. The farmers tend to like this because it gets rid of a lot of manual counting and surveying that they tend to have to do, and we can get the data from a quick drone flight over. We cover about 70 hectares in a day or 80 hectares in a day, and yeah, it helps the farmer with forecasting sales. And in the future, we're looking at merging this with nitrogen application to give the farmer a more uniform crop at the end of the season, at the end of the growth. That concludes my presentation. And if anyone has any questions, obviously ask them at the end. If you need to get in touch in the future, use any of these contact details. We are, at the moment, we're looking to expand in a lot of different countries, and I'm personally setting up partnerships with different companies around the world. So if anyone has any interest in partnering or has any experience in the agricultural sector, please do get in touch, and we can have a separate conversation. Thank you very much. Back to you, Joseph.
Thanks a lot, Jack. Great presentation. Now we have Hugo de Blauw, who is the founder and CEO of Inflights, a company measuring the world in 3D, one drone flight at a time. Hugo is also a passionate drone pilot, an aerospace engineer, and a McKinsey alum. So, Hugo, you're next. I think you're on mute.
Oh, all right. Can you hear me now?
All good.
Oh, good. Yeah, all this technology, and then we just don't find the unmute button or the present slides. Can everybody see my slides? Is it all good? All right. So thanks, Joseph and Claudina, for setting this up. My name is Hugo de Blauw. I'm a founder and CEO of Inflights. We focus as the end result for our clients is actually the measuring and the surveying of as our end product. And we have experienced that in the drone world, there's a lot of companies like Hummingbird, but also other companies that are similar, that have been investing a lot of money and time in doing the analytics. They typically also combine many different data sources to get to a product. Like I think Hummingbird is a great example. It's a combination of data from drones and satellites. And we have identified the operational issues of running a drone network on a global level and ensuring that this happens smoothly. Yeah. As I said, the end product is drone mapping, and we do this globally for larger clients that are actually looking to survey at the global scale, but still have a very consistent output of what are actually the deliverables. We also use, of course, the EMLID very actively, or at least our pilots use it. We also use some other equipment depending on what is available. What I would like to talk, I made a small presentation, especially for this webinar. So what I wanted to talk about, that we have seen a lot of challenges that local pilots or that pilots actually tend to experience is that life as a drone pilot sometimes can be challenging. I think I'm also an aerospace engineer. I also a pilot. I did design drones a long time ago. I think it's an incredible technology. A lot of people have jumped on this technology, but when you look at the economics of a drone pilot, you can see that some of them are getting some good gigs, but some of them are not, and there's actually quite a large crowd of drone pilots. It's, for me, this is a very fascinating, has always been a very fascinating idea. You know, is that you have a lot of drone pilots all over the world that are emerging. They're all buying new types of equipment from companies like EMLID or DJI, of course, or other providers that give a lot of drones. And this gives a really very interesting opportunity is that we can now go to clients as Inflights and tell them, look, we will take care of your surveying needs on a global level because, hey, there's actually drone pilots all over the world. Yeah. And what we then see with our drone pilots is that sometimes they struggle on a couple of elements. And I actually put some of them here together. I don't think the list is exhaustive, but I think that it probably captures a bit what is going on. I think that when I look at the typical drone pilot we engage with, for them, the sales part is pretty hard. They tend to be more tech-based people, very enthusiastic about their product. They do good work. They will go, before the rain or after the rain, they will wait for the clouds or they will wait for the clouds to be gone, etc. But then when they get home, they typically don't really have a lot of time to spend on sales. They also don't have a lot of time to start negotiating a lot of quotes. Yeah. And what I think is interesting in the drone world is that if you look at the price of a typical mission, which can be a couple of €100, sometimes a couple of thousand, those are already the good missions, but typically it can be a couple of €100. There's a lot of time lost in negotiating the prices with clients. And then actually what also happens at the side of the clients, they're not always very sure on what to expect. And this goes from more easier jobs like surveying, but it also goes to more complex jobs like precision agriculture, where I think Hummingbird is doing a really great job, but also any other end product where actually the needs, especially when that they buy them. There is a new drone that comes out, they buy it, and there's the RTK elements that come. Then there is this new equipment, and after 2 or 3 years, actually they realize some of their equipment is getting old, and so that's a real challenge for them. And it's not always so easy for a drone pilot to know or to understand, okay, do I need to buy the new DJI drone, or should I just stick with my current equipment and just do an upgrade, etc. And then finally, we see that when you look at the drone industry and it has evolved. And I've been designing control systems a long time ago when I was in the USA, and I've seen so many applications popping up that you can do with the drone. But there's none of them that is really a big application. Some of them are, but at the end of the day, the drone industry is a very big industry, but it's really a sum of a lot of different niches. Yeah, one of them can be agriculture, but it can be surveying, but it can be mining. And even if you go inside every industry, you will see that the specific very use case are very, very niche. And yes, that altogether is a very big world, but it's still niche. So as a drone pilot, actually learning of all these niches and all the things you can do with your drone, from surveying to actually maybe even just taking very simple pictures, is also very challenging to evolve. I will let you comment on this afterwards when we have the questions. So what we do as Inflights, and I think that we are trying to solve this problem with the following model, and is that we coordinate a global partnership with many drone pilots to generate 3D CAD models. And what happens here is that a client can go to our website and order a 3D mapping area. We will actually automatically, with our processes, we will look if that area has actually any regulatory issues. By the way, I didn't mention, but of course, regulations and the prices that are related to it is also a big challenge for our pilots. So hence, we will check what is actually the regulatory situation, and we will keep track. We have actually a database of all our pilots, and we know who can fly where. Yeah. So that means that when we actually get a mission for a certain location, we immediately know who is the pilot with the right equipment and who is actually the pilot that is legal to fly there, because not everybody has licenses to fly everywhere and not everybody wants to invest in that. So we keep track of that. And then finally, we will dispatch this mission to the right drone pilot. And we will make sure that how he has to go there and what he needs to do is extremely clear. Yeah? What is also important that we do is that we will upfront have already negotiated all the prices with our pilots. And every pilot that signs up into our platform can actually say, hey, these are the drones I have, and this is how much I want to earn for each drone. This is how much I want to earn, or how much I want to be covered for asking the permits, and this is how much I want to be covered on the per kilometer basis to actually go to the certain to that location. Then the pilot will go to the flight. He actually uploads the data, and we will then take care of the processing and delivering the insights to our clients. How does it look like for a client? He can actually, I think I mentioned it before, but he can go to our web platform where he will insert the area that he wants to be mapped. He can also upload the KML. Instantly, we will actually get back to the client like, okay, actually, we are able to fly, or we are not able to fly. That also is possible. I think here managing the expectations is always very important because it's just easier to say up front, hey, we really cannot fly in a forbidden area, than to spend a lot of time looking for a pilot and then realizing actually it's an area where it's illegal to fly anyhow. And the client can actually then finalize the quote. He or she will be informed on what is actually going on. And I think here we have realized that in the industry, people really want to follow up on what is actually going on in terms of their process. The process on getting there is very important. I mean, are we finding the pilot? Are the things authorized? And when is actually the flight taking place? And then our clients, they can access and download the data that we generate once the drone flight has taken place. Okay. The way we work allows us to have a very wide range of drones and equipment, and hence we are able to always accommodate the request of our client in the right way. And that we can work okay. So what is my question to you? We're trying to fill up this map. And do you want actually to be part of this? We are really aiming for a niche of helping global clients to have a global footprint. Many of our clients are active in many parts in the world, and they do experience issues in finding the right pilots and finding the right people to do their 3D mapping. And hence we are definitely always constantly looking to expand this map. Yeah. Why would you join as a drone pilot? It's free to register. I think that the way we have thought about the model is that, and if you look at the day of a pilot in Inflights, you receive flight proposals that you know are a good price because the prices are agreed up front. The only thing you actually need to look at is, okay, am I available and what is the weather saying? And then you can accept that mission. So our goal is really to have pilots flying more and spending less time doing admin or finding their own or negotiating on prices. We have done the flight planning on the airspaces up front. So we have integrated with regulatory airspace data. So that job is already done. So that's quite a lot of time that is saved. We make sure that you don't have to drive that much, because we will always allocate missions that are close to your location. As I said before, the prices are agreed up front. And I think one of the last ones that I am realizing that is getting more and more important is we do have really a very vast amount of experience in photogrammetry, also a lot of experience with issues that can happen along the way with the RTK rover or with different drones. And we consider our drone pilots not really suppliers, but really it's a drone partnership where we will be ready to troubleshoot with our pilots if something goes wrong on the field. Yeah. And more and more, we are realizing that this 6th bullet point on the slide is actually becoming a very important one to help our pilots to also learn. But also, I think the reason we do this, I mean, it's that we have a promise towards our clients. So hence, we also want to be really on top of the things that are going on. Yeah. Ourselves, we have a lot of experience with flying. A lot of the people on the team are drone pilots themselves, or also pilots. So we really do understand that I mean, things can go wrong on the field, but of course we want to make sure that we can address those issues as soon as we can. All right. What is actually the process on how it goes? I mean, you can register. Here you need to enter just all the drones you have and what certificates do you have. So what are the countries where you can fly and what are the airspaces you can fly in. You need to determine what is your rate to fly for them. We do apply so a kilometer rate, and on the equipment it's a minimum base, and then it's a per hectare rate that gets added to that. Then once that is there, you will receive flight proposals from our clients. They can come from all over the world, but they will be close to your mission, but the clients will be international. And these proposals should perfectly match actually your expectations, the agreement we have up front. Then you can fly the missions. We make sure that everything is super clear on what is expected from us. So there shouldn't be any problems on the expectations. And of course, we stand by to support our pilots in case something goes wrong. Once the flight is done, you can upload the data to a platform. My CTO just told me to tell you all, we have a very fast upload. Not sure how important that is, but at least we work with Amazon and it's definitely a very good, robust upload. And then we take care of the processing. And once the processing is done and everything is ready, you will receive an email and on how you can actually send your invoice and of course get paid for that. All right. So you can sign up at inflights.com/pilot or just shoot us an email at pilots@inflights.com.
Great, thank you so much, Hugo. So thanks everyone. We're gonna now take questions. So in the interest of time, if you could post your questions in the chat. We already have a few questions lined up, so I'll ask them for you, but you can add them and specify who you or which company your question is for. So let's start with you, Hugo, because you just finished your presentation. I have a question: is how much do you know about the client before you basically put this request on the platform? Do you have a series of questions
for us, or
for you and for the pilot?
Yes, so from us, it will be always industrial clients or corporate clients that we have developed very good relationships with. And they will, so that's how we manage that. And towards our pilots, we will, everything will be super clear on for the exact location and how to get to that location or to have access or to ensure everything can happen correctly. Yeah, and quite often we will also take care, if needed, we will take care of the paperwork on giving authority to that specific pilot to fly at a certain location if that's needed. But that depends on a country per country and mission per mission basis. Yeah. Okay. Great.
Question for Jack. What sensor and drones work best with your current platform? Do you have any recommended systems? Or?
So we've got a long list of sensors and drones or just sensors that we can accept. Most of our UAV products are based off of RGB sensors, but we also accept the Microsense, all the red edges, and the Altum, as well as the Sequoia. We're looking to get more multispectral cameras onboarded soon. But yeah, the drones tend to be they vary per geography. In Europe, there are a lot of multi-rotor stuff, but in Brazil and Australia, we tend to go for more fixed wing to cover more area, like the EB.
Okay. Thanks. Igor, a question for you. So it's a combination of questions. So what's your distribution network? Where in the world do you distribute those GPSs, and how I think your price is groundbreaking compared to the existing solution. So how did you make it so affordable?
So our distribution network is over 40 countries. So we have deliveries in more than 40 countries, and we also ship worldwide from our online store. And yeah, we have really formed a great network of really good partners that can support the client, and yeah. So it's one of our goals initially was not just to make the equipment affordable and easy to use, but also make it accessible in terms of that it's easy to get it, easy to buy it, and we're keep working on that. And then the other thing is that our price is always upfront, be direct.